for a birthday present, what do you hope happens? You know, you wake up tomorrow morning.
I hope that I see the obituary that we're all waiting for tomorrow. That's what I hope for.
Yeah. you wishing that President Trump is dead?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Why can't anybody seem to actually kill the president? Because no one's been successful and good presidents are dead.
Do you endorse political violence?
No. I encourage thought-provoking questions.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Vicky from Voices with Vicky. And if you are new here, I do social and political commentary on a variety of topics that are usually from a centrist perspective. However, sometimes I do tend to lean in one direction or the other. I talk about LGBT topics, current events, politics, and the list goes on. And if this sounds like something that you're interested in, please go ahead and subscribe. The subscription is free. All right, guys. So we're going on a year since Donald Trump was elected for a second term. And it got me thinking about what's gone on the last year, of course, but also the attitudes of the people and the divide between not just left versus right or, you know, Republican versus Democrat, but how this actually goes down to our friends and family, and that friends and family still is very divided, in some cases in a very extreme way. And I actually had a recent experience where something negative happened to me that I know was politically motivated. And it was somebody close to home, not just myself, but many people have had the experience where they were disowned, unfriended, told that they weren't their friend anymore, that they weren't their family anymore, just because of political views. And it seems to usually come from people that are on the left that seemingly have some kind of moral superiority complex against the people that are on the right. I think I do have some conservative values, but that's not just me all the way, all the time. And one of the things that I was thinking about was the fact that, okay, a lot of us were crazy back in 2016. A lot of us didn't like Trump the first go around, myself included. I didn't. I really felt that he wasn't going to be good for the country. I was totally sucked into a lot of mainstream media, biased media that was outright lying to us, and I didn't realize that at the time. And then, of course, COVID hit, and 2020 was a hell of a year. And, you know, put it in the comments if you were crazy in 2020, because I think all of us were crazy in 2020. And what I was hoping would happen, though, what I was praying would happen after Trump was reelected, that break that we had in between, you know, that 4 years with Biden, people were going to kind of see the light some more and also see that the media has poisoned a lot of the minds of the people. And I do think a lot of people did start to move over to the right, so to speak, or actually more towards the center if you were on the left. And I was one of those people. And I think in a way, it's the independent vote that elected Donald Trump. Correct me if you think I'm wrong. But what continues to amaze me is that there's still so many people out there that will disown you if they think you voted for Trump, or disown you if you like Charlie Kirk in any way, shape, or form, or disown you if you're not all in on every aspect of the LGBTQ plus pee poo-poo society, right? That you have to subscribe to all or nothing. It's them versus us versus them. And what really sucks is that I actually had a personal experience recently where somebody decided, you know what? I'm not talking to you anymore. And they didn't do it in a way where they actually confronted me or said anything. They just simply did the delete. And I'm sure that you've all had that experience where suddenly just somebody disappears off of your social media. And it's usually somebody in your own family or a close friend. So you notice right away. And I had this happen to me, and I was actually really hurt by it, to be honest, because I think I've been very fair. I've never, you know, pushed anything on anybody, forced anything down anybody's throat. I just have been my authentic self through this journey politically, where I used to consider myself a leftist. A lot of people say I've been red pilled, but I don't know that I would go that far. I don't know. I guess it depends on who you ask. But the point is is that I've always been very respectful of the fact that people have a right to choose who they want in office. They have a right to vote for who they want to vote for. And I'm not going to abandon a relationship or a friendship just because somebody voted in a way that I didn't vote. I guess why I'm making this video today is because I want to check in with other people and find out, is this still happening to you too? Do you still see this great divide even between friends and family that cannot get along and that cannot come together despite their differences? Because apparently it's still a thing. And I'm not really sure what to do about it. How do you cope with something like that? Do you just let it go? Do you talk to the person about it? Do you not say anything? Do you just move on? Some people just like to be really dramatic. I don't know. I do feel that COVID screwed people up more, and it's something that we don't talk about enough, is the fact that that isolation and that government control that we had at that time has really mentally warped the minds of many people, and people haven't gotten over it. And it's in particular, if you were young and you didn't know any different, that's really shaped minds in ways that is extremely dangerous and problematic and sad, if you ask me. Guys, like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to get into this right now, and we're going to react to some clips of No Kings, and we're going to react to some clips of handling your differences with politics.
So this is your birthday. So
Yes.
you came out on your birthday. You thought it was important. Tell me why.
Absolutely, because I have two little boys who deserve a bright future of freedom and democracy. And this is a nightmare that I'm living in, and I'm here to make a difference and to be loud and proud. And there's no other way I'd want to celebrate my birthday than with my parents and my best friend fighting for our country.
So, okay, so for a birthday present, what do you hope happens? You know, you wake up tomorrow morning.
I hope that I see the obituary that we're all waiting for tomorrow. That's what I hope for.
You wishing that President Trump is dead?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely.
How can somebody sit there and laugh at like anybody's death? Like, you know, I was talking to somebody about this the other day about like when Osama bin Laden was finally captured and killed. How I remember where I was when I found out about that. And, you know, 9/11 was a terrible, awful tragedy in so many ways and affected so many people in not just New York City, but in the state of New York and in the entire country. And I remember hearing about the fact that he was killed and it was done and it was over with. And I didn't cheer, I didn't laugh, I didn't smile, I didn't celebrate. And this was somebody that was responsible for thousands of murders, right? And I just, it doesn't matter. You see, when you're a good person, you don't think death is good in any situation, regardless if they deserved it or not, or whatever. You know, it's just not a normal, humane reaction to have. And so when I see people like this, that are smiling and cheering and laughing about the potential assassination of our leader, regardless if you like him or not, there's something terribly wrong here and scary to me. And the other thing that she said too that I found to be really compelling was that she's living in a nightmare. And yet she's walking around here freely, doing whatever she wants, protesting however she feels. But she's doing what she wants, is my point, right? She's living in this supposed nightmare. But yet she's smiling and laughing and hoping for the death of a president. And then people wonder why we're so divided. Like, people don't want to be around things like this. I don't want to be around things like this.
Can you say that?
Can I say it?
Yeah.
Why can't anybody seem to actually kill the president? Because no one's been successful and good presidents are dead.
Do you endorse political violence?
No. I encourage thought-provoking questions. Like, why is that actually going on in 2025 where someone...
They think they're being thought-provoking by asking the question as to why we're not good at offing people that we don't like. I mean, because that's what it boils down to. That's what she's saying. She thinks that's thought-provoking. I mean, this is insane. This is insane. Oh my God, what is wrong with these people?
Can't even manage to do that to our president. And I'm not saying they should, but I'm saying if that's what's on the table and what's happening, why?
So you have a civil rights attorney for protesting, or?
Yes, and I actually just spoke to someone who was a civil rights attorney passing by who stopped and talked to me because he thought my sign was a little extreme, and he agreed that it was okay.
How do you afford a civil rights attorney?
A lot of the times you can just call them and ask them questions, and they will come out to you or out to whatever activism you're doing and give you guidelines. But for me personally, I do this so often, and you can see I have an anarchy sign on my shoe. I'm so against everything this government does to everyone. It doesn't matter that he does it. I won't even say his name. It's like glorifying a murderer.
That is so dramatic. And the thing about anarchy and all that, my first thought was like, punk rock used to be so cool, man. Like, they ruin everything. So those two clips really illustrate this negative, horrible, nasty worldview that people have. And they walk around all day feeling this way, talking this way, expressing themselves in this way. And it's tiring just to watch clips like this, right? I can't imagine exuding that type of negative energy on a daily basis regarding who the president of the United States is, and being so convinced that he is Hitler, a Nazi, a fascist. The lack of self-reflection, I think, is what is astonishing to me the most. So I came across a clip here that I thought to myself, wow, I wish more people had the ability to be like this. So it's very important that you guys see this and understand this interaction, because this is what my vision is and what is on my wish list for people to be more like this. Take a look.
I was taking my sons to school, and my younger son, completely out of the blue, said, "Mom, we don't know anybody who voted for Trump, right?" And I paused, and I took a deep breath. Yes, we do. The Quattramanis. And his response was so great. He kind of got this confused look on his face, and he said, "But we love them." And I answered, "Yes, we do." And then he said, "Why would they vote for him?" And I remember stopping and thinking that it was really important how I answered this question. Somehow, I had to honor our own family values and show respect for our friends. So I finally said, "They think that's the right direction for this country." And of course, before I had even gotten the whole sentence out of my mouth, he had moved on to the soccer game he was going to play at recess. So there you go.
Life with boys. So what Lauren and I have discovered through our bipartisan friendship is the possibility that lives in dialogue. We have chosen to be genuinely curious about each other's ideas and perspectives, and to be willing to listen to one another, even when we disagree. And by putting aside our ego and our preconceived ideas, we've opened ourselves up to limitless learning.
Let's go back to election night. As the polls were closing and it became clear that Trump was going to be our new president, I was devastated. I was sad, I was confused, and I'll be honest, I was angry. And then just before midnight, I received this text message from Caitlin. And where there so easily could have been weeks or months of awkwardness and unspoken hostility, there was this, an offering of empathy rooted in friendship. And I knew in that moment that we would make it through this.
I really wish for more people to be like that. I wish that was more in your life, more in my life. That's what we need to strive for, is having discourse and still being able to walk on the same side of the street together. What happened that we can no longer do that? Ask yourself why. If you're listening right now, or you're watching me right now, ask yourself why you can't do that. Ask yourself why you're not capable of doing that, because it starts with self-reflection. People need to take a look in their own party, take a look in their own backyard, take a look into their own souls. But is it really that hard? Is it really that hard to just have this much bit of humanity?
Something that really bothers me is how there are so many people out there who just assume that everybody is against Trump. So they'll just openly start bashing Trump in a group of people they just met, just assuming that everybody agrees with them. Like, there have been so many situations where I've just met someone and then they make a comment like, "Oh my God, can you believe what Trump said at the blah, blah, blah?" And I'm like, yeah,
Stupid.
I heard it, and I agree with him, actually. And I'm just so tired of those people. There are so many of those people that just assume First of all, that they have the moral high ground on every issue. And second of all, that everybody agrees with them. I, especially as a gay person, encounter this so often. And I'm like, do you guys realize roughly half of the nation supports Trump? And even among gay people, around 1 in 4 gay people voted for Trump in 2020. So the arrogance to just assume that I'm going to be on board and just like go along with this joke that you're making is really irritating to me. Not everybody is so easily swayed by what the corporate media and a bunch of celebrities tell them to believe.
And this kind of goes back to what I was saying before, is that people have come around to see that the corporate media is lying, or that these celebrities are a bunch of puppets, or, you know, that not everything is as it seems. So the ones that are still sort of in that comfortable rut of the left, chanting about identity politics and things of that nature all day, those are the people that are hardest to reach. It's like, how do you bridge those gaps? How do you come together? How do you mend those relationships with people that are looking at you like you're crazy now just because you agree with some of Trump's policies or talking points, or you've come to realize that he's not this anti-gay psycho that he was made out to be in 2016. So I'm going to leave you with this girl that I'm about to react to, who I think has a really balanced and clear perspective on things. She is somebody that used to subscribe much more to the left. She explains very eloquently about her journey through that and kind of reflecting on what's gone on.
Isn't it crazy to think that the very same people who masked us and isolated us and locked us in our homes and made us mask our children and tried to force an experimental medication on us and shut down small businesses and made our family members die alone in the hospital and prosecuted their political opponents and totally circumvented the democratic process by installing a presidential candidate, those same people have convinced people to go to No Kings protests because the president has the audacity to use resources that are at his disposal in order to clean up our crime-ridden streets.
The crime-ridden streets, by the way, that were caused because of all of the COVID lockdowns and the crazy insanity that went on during that time period. I mean, let's face it, guys, like things got really bad because of COVID. I mean, you can point fingers all day about like how we got to that point or whatever, but there were things happening there that were very extreme. They were totally messed up. Mental health took a huge nosedive, and we're still trying to figure that all out and get back to a better balance there. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but it's because of COVID that we got to this. And now here we are over 5 years later with Trump back in office, and he's like, hey, like, this is ridiculous. And I agree to some extent that it's ridiculous. I don't want to see this crap in the streets.
And we're falling for it. And the crazy thing is, if I'm being totally honest, if COVID hadn't happened and woken me up, I would have fallen for it too, because I was completely at the mercy of the manipulation, the emotional manipulation and the gaslighting of the Democrat Party. I was like Pavlov's dog. You could scream racist, fascist, dismantling our Constitution, and I would lose every ounce of common sense would leave my brain. And so I can't be mad at people who were spending their precious currency of time protesting No Kings when we clearly had an authoritarian dictatorship that was ruling our lives.
I like how honest she is, you know, that she says like, hey, I used to be like this. And, you know, I said it earlier that I used to be like that to some extent as well. You know, put it in the comments. You know, are you somebody that left the left and you now consider yourself a conservative, a Republican, more in the center, and independent? Let me know.
For years. I can't be mad at them because I probably would have fallen for it too. But it is wild to watch. And I feel like people don't realize why I do this. I don't do this and share my experience leaving the left because of likes or because I want to be accepted by a certain group of people or because I want followers. I do it because leaving the left has been the most liberating experience of my life. I feel like
100%. And I'm in the same boat. I've said it before on other podcasts that I've done, that it was a very liberating experience to disconnect from that end of things and say, hey, I'm going to sit here now and I'm going to look around and take my pick at who I'm going to vote for and not be labeled anymore, not be labeled Democrat, not be labeled leftist, not be labeled conservative, not be labeled LGBT.
I have woken up from a coma. I feel like I have woken up from a state of rage and constant discomfort and finger pointing and blame and just being angry at whatever they told me to be angry about. And being on the other side, I did not join a perfect party, but I did join a party that I'm able to criticize. I'm able to talk about what I don't like about this administration and still be welcomed into a party that has like discourse, that is able to debate, that is able to have flexibility and nuance of belief. And
that is the problem, Democrats, leftists, far leftists. People are leaving your party. They're leaving and abandoning in a mass exodus because you don't welcome them unless you agree or they agree with everything that you do. Everybody's being pushed into the center and smushing up against the right side. And now we're all being called right wing, which is just ridiculous. We just want to be able to have a conversation without getting screamed at, without being ostracized, without being told we're not part of their club anymore, without being deleted off Facebook, without being talked about behind our back, without being told that we can't be friends, without being told that we don't matter. We matter a lot because all of us are voters. And this is why Trump won the election.
I wish that more people could feel that. And I just wish that people would look at what the Democrat Party is doing to us with more skepticism and really with more common sense to recognize that you're being manipulated. And if you actually leave this very toxic and very terrible relationship, I bet you'll be happier too.
It is a very toxic relationship, and that is something that I had a hard time grappling with in the beginning, but once I got a hold of it and realized that it really was that bad, I just let go, man. So, and the one thing that people ask me a lot was, well, what was the thing? What happened that made you leave the left? And it wasn't really one thing in particular. It did get started though, because I started to get very curious about the like trans stuff and the trans kid thing. And I'm like, what's going on here? Like, is this really happening? Are kids really transitioning? And what is this all about? And when I started doing research into it, it actually led me to my friend Buck Angel. And that was where it all kind of began for me. And once I was in that sphere, I started meeting a lot of people that were much more open and understanding to differences of opinion, not just with LGBT stuff, but with a lot of other things too. I've actually been treated better on the conservative side than I ever was treated on the left, because they say that they're loving and accepting, but they're not. They're standing there judging you the second they don't like something that you say or that you have a viewpoint that might be pro-Trump. So anyways, guys, let me know in the comments what you think. Tell me about your experiences that you've had. And I did get quite a bit of responses about how people feel abandoned in this world when it comes to friends and family, when it comes to trying to find common ground with people without being yelled at and without being ostracized. Try to stay strong about it. And I want to encourage you guys to stay strong about it too, and actually keep an open mind and set a better example than the crazy people are currently doing, because they're setting a terrible example for our youth. They're fear-mongering our youth. They're hurting other people around them because they're so self-involved with their own opinions that they can't see that there's other things going on in the world besides what their mindset is. We are actually a very privileged nation, you know? And I hate using words like that because they're so overused, but we are. We're so privileged that we're able to have like ridiculous infighting. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments what you think. Your voice matters, and I will see you in the next one.